Frank, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, mate. Thanks for the invite.
Do you want to just start by telling us a little bit about how you first started your business?
Okay, so we've got to go right back to probably 79. We married about 6 or 8 months and then started training at a gym to lose some weight and get fit. I wasn't really healthy back in those days. And training there for a few weeks, and the trainer there, George, he said, look, great that you're training here, Frank, but if you don't change your diet, you're not going to live a long, healthy life. And I says, well, what do you mean, George? I eat pretty well. And the time that he brought this up was actually when I finished training, come back to the gym with a hamburger, chips, and a can of Coke, and just to get some more training advice of George. And George was one of these health fanatics, and that's why he picked it up. And I says, I eat pretty well, George, and I'm just talking about it. So I eat out every now and again, but it's not very often. And I said, what shall I eat? He goes, he grabs a book in behind him, and he hands it to me and says, look, do yourself a favour, buy this book, take it home, read it, and I promise it'll change your life. And I said, George, I haven't got that time. I haven't got time to read a book, mate. I'm so busy, and just tell me what I need to eat. He goes, no, buy the book, read it, and it'll change your life. So reluctantly, I bought it. Cost me $2.95 back in 1970, about November 1979. I took it home. I actually just threw it in my wardrobe and didn't have any intentions of reading it. But then I thought about it. I was like, look, I better read the first few pages because George is certainly going to quiz me when I go back to the gym. So it was over the weekend. I picked it up and started reading the first few pages, and I could not put it down. I read it cover to cover in about 3 days. I've never read a book in my lifetime, and other than comic books, it just changed my life. And people say, well, what was in the book that had that sort of that impact? And I said, you know what? It was a lot of things, but it was the first time that I ever heard prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
And eat to live, don't live to eat, like most of us do.
Yep.
And it just made a lot of sense to me, And I said to my wife, whatever you're cooking, stop. This is the way we're going to eat from now on. So literally overnight, before I read the book, I'd eat anything she prepared. Whatever she prepared, I'd eat, right? Italian, grew up there with migrants, and we just ate the normal Italian stuff, which is not bad, home cooking, but it's a lot of carbohydrates and sugars and so on. She ever pretty much changed the whole diet. She had to learn how to cook differently. I actually went vegan for a couple of years, and I went from 101 kilos down to, it was about 61 kilos in 2 years. I was always overweight as a kid, I used to go like a yo-yo, lose weight. I've learned so much. I felt that it was my mission to actually share what I've learned with all my friends, my family, obviously. And I got my parents to change their diet. I tried to get all my siblings to change their diet. A little bit of a struggle. My friends thought I was crazy. I said to Grace one day, I really love this. I want to do this full time. I really enjoy it. And I feel that I need to do it. I think it's my passion, it's my mission. And I just felt that I have obligation to share it because there was no information back in those days, Dom, about nutrition. There was no Google stuff. And I was a motor mechanic then, and I had a really good job, getting paid really well. I sort of managed the yard, and I was only like probably about 20, 27 at the time. And I said to Grace, I really want to do this full time, and I really enjoy it. And thinking about it, opening up a health food store. And she says, oh, great, we'll do it. I said, but the only problem is that we just bought a block of land to build this new house. Because when we were married, just before, like 3 months before we got married, I took Grace to a house that we wanted to buy. It's the first time she's seen it. And she actually cried when she came in through the door. It was pretty run down. It was a rented home, holes in the wall, people smoked them. It was just, I said, don't worry, darling, like only be for a couple of years. When get a bit of money aside, we'll buy a block of land and build your new house. So this is where we're at, right? Had a block. I put a deposit on a block. I said, but we can't afford to build a house and open up a health food store because this health food store is going to be in a brand new shopping centre. We had to fit out and everything. We discussed it, and she said, look, it's your passion. Let's open up the store and we can build the house another day. And it still makes you a little bit emotional when I say that because it was a big call for her, and for her to trust me and to support my passion was a really big deal. We did that. We didn't go ahead with the land. We ended up passing off on the land, and And we opened up the health food store on the 1st of November 1982, which happened to be my 28th birthday. So that's where the business started. That's where the journey in the industry started. So I thought, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. This is great. Customers come to my store, educate them, particularly parents with young children. And, I started advertising. I started writing columns in the local paper, bringing people in my store. So I had to educate people. This is Fairfield. This is the western suburbs of Sydney. No one knew about, natural health or healthy living. Certainly no one knew about vitamins and herbs and gut health and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not to mention fasting, because the book I read was actually Miracle Fasting. It was all about water fasting, and that was taboo in those days.
So we're talking 40 odd years ago, right? 45 years ago.
42 years ago, 6 weeks, yeah. So in 6 weeks, it'll be 1st of November, 42 years, and it'll be my 70th birthday.
Yeah, right. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, right. So I was creating, your business was growing. It took a little while, it wasn't easy. And there's a bit of story behind the finances and that, but I didn't have enough money to open the store. I should add this part. My brother Tony, for a while, was saying, let's go in business together. Tony was like in the printing industry back then.
Yeah.
But he wanted to open up like a donut king or something, and I wasn't interested. I said, look, how about a health food store? And he says, what the hell's a health food store? So I've got to take a day off, and we went out and showed him what a health food store was. And he got very interested. He thought, this is great. The owner was always in the back room, reading the paper and having a coffee, and the cash register going. Like, you're used to this. And Tony had a block of land, and he had no partner at the time. And so I said, I need $20,000 from you. So he actually, to his credit, he sold his block of land and put $20,000 forward. I put 20 grand forward. That was enough to open the store. But I wanted a butthole, because if things start to go bad, sometimes we're a new shopping centre, a new shop, it's going to take a while to build the business up.
And you hadn't run a store before, right? This is all new.
It's all new. I never retailed before.
Yeah.
I was very passionate about what I was doing, but I knew nothing about retail. Honestly, I was motivated, right? But I learned a lesson. I actually had a service station at the age of 21. I only had it for 18 months. It was just lease. I ended up throwing the keys back to the leasing agent. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was losing money big time. And the biggest mistake I made in that service station is I went in with all the cash I had, and I think I borrowed $6,000 from the bank. This is before I was married. It was 1975. And I just wasn't making any money, and I was losing money because I wasn't really drawing a wage and just paying expenses pretty much. After 18 months, I just threw it away because I ran out of cash. And I still owed $6,000 when I walked away from that business. Didn't go broke, but obviously I had the bank loan that I had to pay off. The biggest lesson I learned from that was, don't go in on the capitalised. 21, young, I was the motor mechanic. I wasn't really educated in running a service station, I guess I'd probably say. I learned from that experience, I didn't want to make the same mistake in the health food store. So I said to my brother Tony, let's borrow the money, because if the business starts to go downhill, there's no way the bank's going to lend us money. So we went out and I put a business plan together. I'll tell you what, it was still tough getting a loan from the bank, knowing that I was going to work in it full time. Tony wasn't. He was like the silent partner. In those days, mate, they never counted the wife's wage because they had kids, get pregnant, had to rely on the man's salary. And lucky we did, because the first year we were down $13,000. Actually, our balance sheet showed a $13,000 loss. But then it started coming good. People were coming in, people were spending more money. What I was doing is I was writing columns in the local paper, just generic, just talking about health and solutions to health problems. And I just used to sign at the Natural Health Crusader, Frank Caruso. And in those days, there was no TGA in that, so we were governed by the state health department. So supplements in those days were all food supplements, so we couldn't actually make any therapeutic claims. So all my writings were generic. Anyway, it was going really well, bringing in lots of people. The business is building nicely. And then in 77, I decided that I wanted to go out to a broader audience. There's a little bit of story behind that too, that I thought I wanted to bring out a newspaper, right? Other companies were doing a similar thing. They had other publications out there that we used to use to bring people to our store, but I didn't think they were doing it well enough. So I thought I can do it better than this. So I actually got together with another retailer that was in Windsor actually, and we put together a publication which we called Health News. And the idea was just to put it out from my store and his store and then try and get other retailers involved. So we put the first publication out, Letterbox dropped it, and turnover went up 30% straight away, just that web,
Wow.
which is incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And same, my friend at Windsor experienced the same thing. The only problem was is that it was still costing us money. We couldn't get enough money off the advertisers, being our suppliers. It was co-op advertising. So I said to my partner, I said, look, I want to put a letter out, post it out to another 500-600 health food stores across the country and invite them to join with us in this promotional campaign. And I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to say, I put this one-page letter out and it went something like this. I think the headline was, Wanted Health Food Retailers with Heart and Passion. The purpose of this letter is to make a connection. You know, I don't know you by name, but I know a lot about you. I know that you're very passionate about what you do. And look, I know you're doing well, but I know you'd like to do better. And then I told our story, the publication, Health News, we come with this promotional tool that we letterbox dropped, our turnover went up 30%. But the truth is we can't afford to do it just for 2 stores. We need to get other retailers on board. This is your opportunity to join us in the campaign. It's only a few conditions. You've got to take 10,000 copies. There's 10 products we've got advertised. You've got actually 10 products. They'll be allocated to you, 10 units of each. I already had the product selection in the letter. They're all good sellers, you know, from Blackmores and from Mutual, from Swiss, all the best sellers, Nature's Own. And I said, you've got to pay for letterbox drop and you've got to pay a few cents for the newspaper. And the reason for that is that you went to a plate change in the front of the newspaper, and that was about $150 each plate change.
Right.
So I sent the letter and I put an order form. I said, oh yeah, and I says, and I look, I know nothing about, I didn't know anything about direct response advertising or copy. I just spoke from my heart, right?
Yeah.
And I said, but I've got to be honest with you, I posted this letter to like 600 stores, and some of the stores in your area may have received the letter. So there's an order form attached to this. Fill it in, get it into us. It's first in, first served, because if another store signs up in your area, I can't supply the newspaper to 2 stores. It doesn't make sense for people to get the same newspaper with 2 different retailers.
Yeah.
And I left it at that. And about 3 or 4 days later, we started getting these letters back in with the order forms.
Right.
That was at the time, but by the time we added up all the orders that we got, I was hoping to get around 350,000 copies. You know? We got orders for 1.1 million copies.
Right.
Over 100 stores were involved, and I couldn't believe it. Some stores ordered 20,000, some ordered 12,000, and I started to panic because I said, God, what am I going to charge the advertisers, the suppliers? I've only been used to asking for $100, $200 for the local paper. And we're talking tens of thousands of dollars here, right? Because the paper, you print 1.1 million copies. I can't remember exactly what it cost in those days, but one of them like $50,000 or $60,000 just to print.
Yeah, it's not cheap, right?
Yeah. And this was rural press out at North Richmond. And I don't know what to charge. And I said to my brother Tony, I says, I'm going to ring up Jeff. Jeff was a sales manager of a big distribution company, which, you know, really helped us in our store at the beginning. So I rang up Jeff and I told him, I said, Jeff, I've got 1.1 million copies. They're going to go to the letterbox. About 105 stores, I think, that have actually ordered the paper, and they're going to be supporting the products advertised. They're going to take 10 units of each. How much can I charge per half a page? It was only a 12-page publication. And he said, $12,000. And I said, bullshit. He goes, no, 12,000. No, I can't charge him 12,000. Jeff is mate, he says, I'm paying that amount of money in the Daily Telegraph, just in the Sunday Telegraph in New South Wales. I'm paying that much, and they don't sell any product for me. You just sold 1,000 units before the paper goes out. Plus we supplied merchandising. So I put the phone down. I said to Tony, Jeff said, $12,000. And Tony goes, no way, you're not going to get $12,000. I says, I'm going to go tonight. So I started making phone calls, right? I sold the publication in 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I can believe it. We had before I knew it, I had a publication. I had a publishing company. We called it Creative Marketing. And after 6 years, I didn't want to do it anymore. And then I thought, I don't want to go back in the retail store. I like to give wholesale a try. I was a consumer in health food stores for a while. I ran the health food store for a few years. I didn't want to go back to work in it. By that time, Tony was working in the store. And Tony says, it'd be great to get you back in the store. I said, no, I love the store, but I just got I want to be challenged a bit more. That was really the truth. At that time, I just felt that I could do better things. I can bring out my own products. So I thought, I want to bring out my own, just a small range to address gut health. It was my learnings of the book that I read, but I read over 50 books by them on prevention and natural living. But most of them are always related to gut health. Death begins in the bowel. It's pretty much the message. Or health begins in the bowel, right? I said to Tony, I would love to do Wholesale. And he said, what are you going to do? So I want to bring out internal cleansing detox program. And he said, well, what's it going to cost? It's going to cost about $10,000 to start a business. And look, if it doesn't work out, I'll come back and work in the health food store. But we need brain, get going. And he says, well, you agree? I said, okay, that's a deal. So what I did first, I brought out one product, which was a fiber product. So I just wanted to test my ability to be able to promote it well. I wanted to get used to manufacturing. So I never met contract manufacturers involved before. Never really got involved with selling product to retailers other than selling my newspaper, right? It felt a little bit uncomfortable being a health food retailer selling my product to other health food retailers. Wasn't comfortable with it, but we had to do it. We had to get a few stores carrying it. And at the time, I was involved with Go Wider Health Food Group. I was actually a director. And that was a non-paid position. None of the directors got paid in those days. And we went out with this one product, and I got it into maybe 100 stores in New South Wales. And my dad used to pack this product. Actually, we started selling bowel cleanse in our store back in 85, 86. Really good product, selling well. It was a formula that pretty much I put together to help people with constipation, but mostly for people that went on a restricted diet, mostly candida diet, where they had to refrain from eating a lot of fiber foods and that, or grains. So I put these 5 ingredients together that they could have to help them with their regular bowel movements. So I said, I like to go out with that because, 50% of adults suffer from constipation. I want to give it a go, and or just run some ads in local papers around the stores that supported the product. And then maybe after 6 months, I perfected the ad. Yeah. And I said to Tony, I want to go out to Sunday paper now. I want to advertise this in the Sunday Telegraph. And I just want to do a small ad, like coaster size, 2 columns by 10 centimetres. And Dad was packing this product out the back, right? And I went out the back and said, you're not going to be able to keep up with demand. You're struggling to do 1,000 units a month. You can imagine my dad, he's 93 now, he still works in the store. Still got a heavy Italian accent. He migrated out here in 53. And he's got this apron on, and he's all covered with fibre and carob, and he had a bleeding on or something, and he goes, no, I said, look, I got outsource. And he goes, no, don't be stupid. Bring in some of the mix. I'll mix it up the back. I said, no, not able to keep up. I need about 20,000 units, right? So I calculated. I went to a manufacturer, got him to actually put 5,000 units together. So I wanted to test it in New South Wales first. I ran the ad in the Sunday paper, and I managed to be able to negotiate distress. So we ran the ad and ended up at page 15, right-hand bottom corner. No one misses the right-hand bottom corner, especially an ad that size. Yeah. I sold out of the 5,000 units in about 3 days.
Wow.
And it's not advertising, it's in the Sunday papers, it's the content was right. It was like 200 words in that space. I knew from my newspaper that people are interested in the benefits or solution to their problem. Yeah. I don't care what the product looks like. Just give them a reason to buy it, and they'll buy it.
So fast forward 20, 30 years to give us some perspective. What's the business look like now in terms of products?
Yeah, well, that was the start of it. That helped me understand distribution, distributors, margins. So then I brought out help use and quick plans. And it was a bit slow because a lot of people didn't understand the concept of internal cleansing. And I was very passionate about it because I thought this program is designed to get your gut back on track. It's to be able to give people to follow an eating plan that enabled their digestive system to have a bit of a rest. And while their body healed, all the benefits from that were just, I've got folders. I got about 10 of these folders, and I'll show you. You don't get testimonials that long.
Yeah.
And not only that, this is, look handwritten.
Wow.
And most of them, I all go, I saved my life. I can't believe it. I lost so much weight. My skin looks better. I'm sleeping better. Before they all come in by email from Albert.
Yeah, right.
No one.
So this is life-changing stuff, right? This is changing people's lives. It's making a big impact.
It's really the reason the program works so well is it's probably the first time in my life I started eating properly.
Yeah.
And started to avoid junk food for 2 weeks. So my wish is that people adopt some of the eating principles in the diet and also exercise. And that's, the herbs within the program, they're cool, good for digestion and that. But it's the main reason the program works is 80% of it is changing their lifestyle habits. The product was hugely successful. It was, back when we launched it, I think it was about 2001 when we really got the ad right.
Yep.
And just selling like 30,000 units a month.
But do you put the future success that came down to your ability to tweak the marketing side of things? What would you call the key to your success?
Even though I've had no training in marketing, I'm apparently a very, very good copywriter. And and this is a lesson for anyone. It's really, it's such an easy message, but most people don't get it. Just write the way that you speak. Don't do it. Pretend that if you're in a retail store and even a pharmacy or health food store, if someone comes in and they've got a problem, you talk to them in a particular way. Madam, so how long have you had the condition? If you talk to them, you try and find out a little bit more about them, and then you talk about a solution, and then you offer them advice on how to address the problem. It's the same in advertising. So, when I started writing my columns in the local paper, the headlines are always solutions. If you've got this problem, I can help you pretty much. It's like generating 20,000 units or an ad that size. It's the content. It's not the product, it's the content. When quick plans, when I got to sell 30,000 units a month, it started with getting the ad right. I do a lot of testing. This is where a lot of people make mistakes too. They don't test their ads. You always test in a small application, or you might run it on radio or TV for a week to see how it goes before you bloody throw millions of dollars like most people do these days, and they just hope that some of it sticks. I think the old saying is, you throw enough spaghetti on the wall, it's not a little stick.
Yeah.
Even that philosophy, you've got to test. If it works, then you roll it out. That's what I did in my health food store, and I still use the same strategy today. Even
I was going to say, does that change? Because today, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got over 100 products, 3,000 odd distributors and stores that you distribute to. Does that change your methodology, or is it you do what works and that's what got you to where you are?
I haven't changed my marketing strategy at all. Still remains the same. It's always promote benefits, and that's what people want. I don't do a lot of brand advertising. I always had this philosophy: you get a product in people's hands is the best way to promote a brand. You might see the only brand ad that I run is a picnic ad that I might feature on TV 3% of the time of what my advertising spend, because it doesn't really generate money. It just says, this is the company, this is what we believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. More on brand awareness.
A lot of people still waste a lot of money on, and it's hard me too, convincing my marketing team, especially new people that come on. I see some merchandising like point of sale, and they got the big head and leg up the top. But no, you don't want it at the top. You want a headline at the top. The logo goes to the bottom. Take up that valuable space to promote the Caruso name. Have it down the bottom. That's where it belongs. People, if they're interested in, the benefit or solution you're offering for the health problem, they'll buy it and they'll get to know the name, And logo is when this logo was put together by a creative team. I didn't like it. I probably missed it. When we launched in 95, it was totally natural products. I never intended to have a range. I just wanted 6 products. We just ended up growing and growing. You can't stop it when it starts to grow. You need distribution in place. You got reps on the road.
How many people are in the business these days, right?
Oh, if you count my support distributor in Perth, probably a total of maybe close to, say, 75.
Yeah, right.
We scale really well.
Yeah. In terms of, I looked at on your website, you talked about the pillars of the brand on there. For people listening, the 4 pillars that you've got there of the brand are made in Australia, 100% money back guarantee, 100% family business, and premium formulas. Obviously, they're all important. The question I wanted to ask was, if you had to choose one for some reason, you could only have one of these as the backdrop of the business, which one would be the one you would choose as a not negotiable?
Been asked, and sometimes when you see my TV ads, when I'm running out of space, you've got like 65 words, you get a 30-second ad, right? And when I've got to leave one of those pillars out, normally the 3 pillars here is the Australian made, Australian owned, 100% money back guarantee. I don't really feature the premium products. There's no room, right? When I'm really tight for space and I only got to run one, it's always 100% money back guarantee.
All right. Okay.
Because that's a benefit for the consumer.
Yeah. Okay.
Australian made, yeah. But look, everyone thinks that the vitamins they buy on shelf are Australian made. It's not a really big deal. And I'll tell you something that most people don't know is that where the medicine industry and complementary medicines, anything that comes under TGA, it's optional to state the country of manufacture on label. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
It's the only industry in Australia that's allowed to do that. I rang up the government to ask why back in 95 because I couldn't believe it. I didn't know. And they said because the government doesn't want consumers to choose their medicine based on country of manufacture. And the next question was, why? And she said, because most generics, if not all generics, are made in Asia.
Right. Wow.
Blackmores, you'll say, yeah, Australian company, Australian made. You won't find made in Australia on any Blackmores product.
Yeah.
But ask them why. I don't know why they don't do it. I can assume why they don't do it, but most of the brands, Blackmores is owned by a Japanese company now. Swiss is owned by a Chinese company. Nature's owned by a French company. Most of the others are owned by private equity companies. The only family-owned companies that I can think of in, say, the top 20 are really us and Pharmacare, which is Nature's Way. They're a family-owned Australian company. And in 2012, I decided to change the name to Caruso's because totally natural product didn't have any engagement. People just thought I was making a claim. They're like, it's totally natural product. No one recognised the company name. They knew of my products. They didn't know who the brand was. Needed to change that. I said one day, I woke up to I said to my wife, that's it, I'm changing the brand name. And she said, what are you changing it to? I said, I'm changing it to Caruso. She goes, well, that's a good name. And in fact, me and my brother are talking about it for years, but we were just a little hesitant going to the family name. It's sacred to us.
Yeah.
Happens the family name is in the gutter, Anyway, I made up my mind, told my staff, and I said, we're changing it because of the story, my story. Everyone loves the story when I tell them how my wife sacrificed her home. It's like I follow my passion. And always had total engagement. And the other thing is we had to have a name that people recognise as a brand. So Caruso's is pretty easy to pronounce. And and brought it in. I told my staff, they're all behind it. Because I had actually lost my vision. I could not see the future for totally natural products going forward. Yeah. I knew how I got here, but if I used the same principles to move forward, I could only go so far.
So how important was that change, Frank?
I'll tell you how important it is, and I'll tell you how how much courage it took to do it. You got to remember, we were growing from 25 to 30% every year. The year that I decided to change the name, we actually grew 33%. Who changes their brand name after 16 years of trading? Spent millions of dollars advertising. But me as a founder, I couldn't see a future for the brand. And I said, we're going to change. And we did focus groups just to make sure that we were on the right track, and we were. I never told any of my staff, only my managers. One day we took everyone out to Luna Park. We had this big announcement. They thought I was going to sell the company. No one knew what was happening. And I told them the story. I told them I had no vision. I lost it. You might have noticed I'm coming in late to work. I'm not happy. And I told them why. And I said, it was like standing in front of land, and what I'm looking at is just all desert. As soon as I said to my wife, we're changing the name to Caruso's, it was like bangs, like a light went off my head. That desert turned into beautiful, rich, nutrient-rich soil. And all we had to do is plant some seeds and nurture it, and it would grow, and it would just explode. And then there's no limit to our growth, because if I can get brand equity and keep doing what we're doing, it'll explode. And that was in 21st of January 13, when I announced to my staff. It took us about a year and a half to get all the labels changed.
Yeah.
And that was in 2014, pretty much probably the end of 2014. So it's only been 10 years been training for Caruso's. And I'll tell you the difference. Back then, when we changed that, we might have been, I don't know, probably 30 or 40-ish supplement brand in Australia. And I remember we moved here in 2009. And when I made that commitment, when I went to Caruso's, I don't know where we were when we made Caruso's, but we were down the ladder a bit. It just started to explode. People were walking in and saying, "Oh, do you have Caruso's prostate rings?" Instead of saying, "You got prostate rings."
Yeah, okay. Yep.
No one knew Toby Natural. Yeah. People, the retailers knew us as TNP. Never knew us. If you walked in a store and said, "You got any Toby Natural products here?" They'll say, "Oh, all of our products are Toby Natural, right?" So they didn't rate the brand. So that was a big change, but it was the right move. And then the whole world just opened up again. The world's our oyster, and there's no limit. So, and then we made a few changes, and then the logo was introduced to my head. I didn't want the head. I argued with my creative people. I said, my head on be like Dick Smith or Bob Jane. And no, it's got to be there. It's your story. Anyway, they talked me into it. And it was the best thing, because even before people said Caruso's, they know it's the head and they know it's Caruso. It's just amazing, isn't it? Sometimes I'm trained at BFT now, and I only started training there maybe 2 months ago. And one day I actually wore my, not polo, but a t-shirt with my logo, and a few of the girls were talking, and they come up and says, "Are you Mr. Caruso?" I says, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, we love your products. We see your, we take your products. We love your products." Now, when I go to the gym, I've got to allow 10 or 15 minutes to answer questions about their health, But that's, even when
that's brand recognition, right?
Yeah, great. 5 years ago, I said to my team, I love setting goals. I do a session on success now. I've done it a number of times, and I've done it at a couple of high schools too, because no one's teaching it. And one of my principles is coming up with a goal and writing it down. Everyone all of your team in the same boat with you, following that mission.
Yeah.
Right? So 4.5 years ago, I come up with this mission, and it's called to be the #1 pharmacy-only brand in pharmacy by the end of financial year 2024-25. And when I set the goal 4.5 years ago, we were 12th or 13th.
Yeah.
This is scan data. This is products sold out of a pharmacy. Not health food stores, but they don't have scan data. We're not in supermarkets. I think you mentioned a number there about, we're actually in about 3,300 pharmacies. There's only about 5,000 pharmacies Australia-wide. But we're in 3,500. We're in is pretty much 90% of the turnover, right?
Yeah.
Because warehouse is 60, so I'll use an idea. So I got in front of my team, and I come up with this mission. I said, how am I going to get all my team on board? And I reached out to Square Elephant Game, the people that come up with this logo. They were creative, and they came up with this great concept, and I ended up launching it downstairs. It was actually the position, which was the statement, being #1 pharmacy brand new pharmacy for 2024. But what they got, it says, what we're going to do is we're going to launch it. We're going to create digital sandwiches of all your stuff, and they're all going to appear on the posters. We're running a video, and the video, the music I chose, it was just internal, no second prize, right? Which I love. I love the song by G Barnes, right? And I've always believed, I never believed in coming second, always coming first. So I played that, and I used all photographs of, once a year we go out one day, we call it a company day, Caruso's day, where we go out and we just have a whole lot of fun. We facilitate organisers games or adventures or whatever. We always try and buy a charity with it. And because I said on the 31st of January, when we changed the name, I said, every year we're going to celebrate this. So we've continued those since then, except with COVID. So I had all these photos of us playing games or doing cooking competitions or going out sailing or playing sport or whatever. And then all these sandwiches started to appear. They're all digital. And then they all finished up on the poster. And I finished and I told them what it was all about. And I said, this is our mission. I need everyone aside. It's optional, but I'd like everyone to sign off on the poster. I had the poster up on the table. And I had all these coloured pens there. I said, choose whatever colour you want. And everyone signed up on it. They just loved the idea. Now, we were number 12 or 13 back then. We're number 2 now. That's what a goal does, and that's one of my principles, in my 10 principles of success. Would you like me to go through them quickly?
Yeah, just run through them quickly.
So what I do is I show a picture on the wall. That's me sitting at my desk, 8 years old, and my teacher walks up to me and she stands over me, stood over my desk, and she said, Caruso, you'll never add up to anything in your life. That's how I start my 10 principles. And of course, most people know that I've been successful. And I ask them, how do you think I felt? Oh, you're disheartened, you're angry, you want to kill her. I said, no, actually, I didn't feel anything. It was like water off the duck's back. I was a happy kid. I knew what I wanted to be. I had a vision that I would be a cabinet maker like my Uncle George. The message is really for parents. And if you've got a child that can't focus or is a daydreamer, I was a total daydreamer. I'm not telling you, encourage them to do good at school, but don't put them down or say that they've got, they're stupid. And my teacher used to remind me that I was stupid every week. I remember my mum coming to school one day and saying, you've got to teach my son. He's not learning. His report cards are terrible. And Miss Angie says, I can't teach your son. He's too stupid.
Yeah, it's a different time, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was a Catholic school. That's where I start my story. And I say to parents, you're going to have kids like that. Today, they're very quick to put their kids on medication or attention span, but it's not necessary. People like that are very creative, and I feel that I'm very, very creative. And in some ways, I think that I'm very, very successful as a copywriter because I didn't finish high school. I left school at 15, didn't do the year 10. At the end of year 3, I just left school, didn't want to do it anymore. Tried to get an apprenticeship as a cabinet maker, couldn't get one, so I ended up becoming a motor mechanic. I wrote an apprenticeship as a motor mechanic, which is good. I didn't mind it, but that's my dad said, if you don't get a job by the time school starts, you're going back to school. I took any job and I ended up working my way into the workshop.
So weren't going back to school.
Yeah. So my first principal is a famous copywriter in America. His name was Ted Nicholas. I went to Bermuda to learn how to write copy. Up in the front of the room, don't know if you know what Bermuda is, but Bermuda Triangle was actually cut to Bermuda. I was at the back of the room with about 200 Americans with my mate Ron, and Ted Nicholas says, I've got in my envelope, I've got 6 messages. And today I'm going to give it to the person that's travelled the furthest to be at the seminar. Anyone here from New Zealand, no one put up their hand. Anyone here from Australia, put up my hand. Ted says, I'll give you this envelope, but you're not going to open it till you get back to Australia. Promised Ted, not going to open it. Gave me the envelope. I got to the airport, that's right. We ended up living on a plane to LA, we had to change. We went through immigration, and I said to Ron, this is probably qualified out of the country. So we opened the envelope, and there was only one line. And you know what it said? If you don't know, ask.
Yeah, right.
That's it. If you don't know, ask. And it's got so much meaning, because we ask so many questions when we're young and then we stop asking regular. And you'd be surprised at how many young people I meet, particularly some of my young staff, that don't ask any questions. They don't seem to be interested on how to be successful, or they feel that they can do it all themselves. The best people to learn off are the people that have already done it. Doesn't matter what you want to be, find that person that's already successful in it and ask them questions.
That's what this podcast is all about, right? It's about talking to people who've been successful.
You'd be surprised on how many people like me are excited to share their knowledge, particularly with young Australians. And when I do hook up with young Australians and they ask questions while I'm in school, I might be talking to 200 students at the awards day, but only 5 will come up to me and ask all these questions. That's pretty much the ratio, right? Maybe up 2%.
Yeah.
So we don't know us. The other one is surround yourself with successful people. Very, very important. And how do you do that? So how do I do that? And I'll tell you why it's important, because successful people are going to support you. If you have a win, they'll celebrate with you. If you have a loss, they'll help pick you up. Your friends are not going to do that. None of your friends are going to be around when you're climbing up the success ladder. They all disappear. And if you do get together, they want to hear about your success. And the reason being is because it justifies, and they want you to go broke completely, because it justifies their position, because they decided to stay where they were, and they do envy your success. I don't have any friends like school or even my early young life.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and you can see it happening in life where people do get a little bit they don't. People want you to be successful, but they don't want you to be too successful. Like everyone wants you to do well, but if you start doing too well and you create too much separation, that doesn't sit so well.
I'll tell you, mate, when I got together, like I went to a reunion recently, about a year ago now, I was the most successful one. Everyone knew me because they sent me up to you, whatever. And they even one of the guys says, you're the most famous person. Yeah. All they wanted to talk about was footy, cars, girls. They weren't interested in my success. And I wasn't interested. I never talked about my success unless I'm asked about it. How do you surround yourself? I joined Toastmasters over 35 years ago. I had no idea that I was going to meet successful people at Toastmasters. I met some of the most successful business people in Fairfield. I don't know, I was one of the big leaders. I think it was Kevin Lee. It was the original owner's son. I met there. White's, he owned about 8 stores, furniture stores in New South Wales. They were there because they wanted to learn how to present. It's all shy people, the introverts like me. And I got to meet these successful people. And when I told my story, which I was terrified, they came up and they were just so encouraging. That's fantastic. You should tell the story of the world. And that's why it's important to have those success people. And in my boardroom, I've got all these people that I've learned from or read their books. Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, Ray Kroc, even though I don't eat condone McDonald's, great story. Muhammad Ali. They're like my private advisory board. I know how they think, so I read their books. Sam Walton, one of probably the most successful retailer in the world. He's dead now, but it's always good to surround yourself with successful people. Number one was actually me in school. Never pay attention when people have negative things to say about you, particularly your future. No one's right to tell you what your path in life is going to be. You have the power and nobody else. That's really the first rule. Number 4 is vision. We spoke about that. And I told people to write their goal down, stick it on their wardrobe, on their bathroom window, where they've got to see it every day when they get up.
Yep.
It's just so important. Otherwise you forget. It's easy to get distracted. Number 5 is passion. You've got to love what you're doing. You've got to be committed to it. It's almost an addiction. It's very hard to do what needs to be done to achieve your dream unless you're passionate about it. So it really is. Steve Jobs made this pretty clear too when he does his talks. If you're not passionate about it, you just give up. It's just too hard. It's the same with anything. Like if you want to be a boxer, if you want to be a musician, you've got to give it 100%. And I think the problem today is a lot of young adults and kids think that the way to do it is start an e-commerce site, cost them nothing. They do it on their spare time. What they don't realise, yes, there's been some huge successes there, but every success, 99.9 fail. You know why? Because they don't put all of their energy into it. And I use this analogy when I'm talking to schools. I say, does anyone play sport? Most put up their hand and play soccer. Put up their hand, girls and boys. And I say, look, can you learn how to play soccer by just standing on the sideline? I go, no, you can't, can you? You can't. You can imagine how it works, but you can't. You don't know how good you are until you get out there and start kicking that ball, right? And the way to get better, you've got to kick a lot of balls. Same with tennis, same with netball, whatever. Same with boxing. You've got to get out. And that's what you need. You don't need to put your whole heart, soul into it. And a lot are not prepared to do that. And the other one, be prepared to step out of your comfort zone. That goes back to kids starting an e-commerce site. They're not prepared to step out of their comfort zone. And I say, we've got to not only shut the door, you've got to lock it, throw away the key. There's no way back. You'll know if you can put all of your heart, soul into it. Then if it doesn't work, well, then at least you're giving it 100%. Eh? And the other one is, in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear to fail. And the way I tell, when people ask me advice on should they move forward on something, I says, how do you feel in your gut? Is this the fear up here choking you, or is it down here? They say, oh, it's up here. They really don't know. I says, well, what you need to do is you need to do a lot more. You need to ask a lot more questions. You need to research it. You need to do as much work as you have to do before you commit to it. You've got to get that fear level down. It's never going to disappear 100%, but you've got to get it down under your sort of around the belly.
It's funny because I write a note every week to clients, and it could be about business, could be about life. Last week's was called Get Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. And it was all about being out of your comfort zone. And one of the stories I told in that was actually around when people are starting something new, some sort of life-changing journey. I always ask them, what's the mix of excitement and fear? What percent is fear? What percent is excitement? And I always think, and I found myself, if the mix is about 50-50, that's about right, because you're excited enough, not too excited, but you're not too fearful. There's a good mix that I think is right in that sweet spot. And that's exactly what you're saying, right?
Exactly. And it's so many people do take a risk because somebody else is doing it. Well, maybe I can do it. Me and Tony, the only health food retailers that I know of in my lifetime anyway, they've been successful in starting the vitamin range and now being the number 2 pharmacy-only brand. We're actually number 6 outright. So you've got Blackmores, Swiss, Bioceuticals, Nature's Way, BioGland, and Caruso 6. Well, my next mission when we achieve this one is to be the number 1 brand in pharmacy outright. That means I've got to beat Blackmores. When I moved to this building in 2009, Blackmores were about 13 or 14 times bigger than us. They're only 3.2 times bigger than us now. I haven't set the actual year, but I said to my team, I think 2030 sounds good. I'll only be 75 or something, still young enough. I don't plan to retire. Look, we get people knocking at our door every month, invest in companies. You got people from Germany, from China, Europe, South Africa, not interested in selling my business. It's Mike Caruso's name. I never got into this to make money. That's the other thing. People, when they think about doing something, particularly in business, they think about money. It's not about money at all. They think it's about money. It's really about happiness, It's being happy with your life. There are a lot of rich people that commit suicide. We know that. It's being happy. It's having purpose in life.
Purpose is a massive part of it that's underrated by most people, I think, having purpose, whatever that purpose is.
Well, absolutely. So my other principle number 8 is take action.
Yeah.
People come up with these good ideas, but they don't take any action.
Yeah.
I've done these seminars where people come up and start crying and said, I'm going to do it. I've been thinking about it and I haven't done it because I've been scared or my parents says don't do it, but I'm going to do it. I've got some stories on that too. And the other one, number 9, is never stop being curious.
Yeah.
Again, it's going back to asking questions. How does that work? I went to those miniature trains the other day, with the little train, they build these trains and you actually ride on them. And there's a club out here that I went to, it was a birthday party. The most fun I had was sitting with the builders and just asking more, how did you do this? Where did you get this from? How did you build this track? The sleepers are steel. Why are you using steel sleepers? Because they rust. I'm just curious about everything, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Mechanical mind, but you don't know unless you ask, right?
100%.
It's got nothing to do with my work. It's got nothing to do with me being more successful, but in my business, where that information may lead. And number 10 is be prepared to work your butt off. You've heard a few people say that. The last time I heard it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's true.
Yeah.
I'm here 5 days a week. I get here about 7:45. Very rarely do I leave before 7. I do it because I find that I'm most creative before people start work and mostly after.
Yeah.
And I come up with the most creative ideas when I'm mowing the lawn or when I'm not at work. So you've got to allow yourself time just to think and create innovation. You mentioned before what's the success of our company. It's not just copyright or marketing, it's innovation. I've got a sign here, creativity takes courage. The reason it takes courage is if you're going to be innovative, you're doing something new, big risk in doing something new. So you've got to work really, really hard to come up with all the right reasons why this may be successful. And when my team come up with, we have a new product development, every year we set budgets, but always 40% of our growth is got to come from new products. And this year I put 50%. That's how confident, but not, because we've been achieving, last year we achieved 52%. I said, I'm going to remove the bar up.
Yeah.
Marketing people on the board. So what that does is we got to really think on and hard. We don't just bring a product out to say, hey, let's take a chance on it. We do research. What's the position? Why are we coming out with this product? Why are people going to buy it? As soon as someone says, oh, because it's Caruso's, that's the wrong answer, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're trading off your brand then instead of continuing to build it, right?
Particularly when if you look at my range, I've got red, green, and blue. The red is all my formulas. They're the ones that generate the most income. And they're the ones that we put most of our money behind because they're special formulas and they've got special markets. People say, oh, why do you sell them? We launched a digestive product in October last year, #1 in this category by May of this year. It's almost unheard of to be #1 in a category of only 10 months. And the formula, it's a digestive enzyme. It's a good formula, don't get me wrong, great digestive enzyme, but that's not why it's successful. Is it the way we advertised it? Partly, but it's the name, bloat-oos. As soon as we come up with the name, that's it. That's our point of difference. Our positioning now is people that are suffering from bloated belly, not health, which is part of gut health.
It's as simple as that. That almost sounds like it's too simple. But is that the key part?
Exactly. And then constipation is a product that I had trademarked 10 years ago, but I never launched it because I didn't have a different position for it. There's 1,000 products you can buy for relieving constipation. So and then one day I said to one of my team, my brother, so I'm going to go out with this position. Oh, you can't do that. People will know it'll damage the brand. I said, no, it's a lot of fun. It's all over the internet. It's on YouTube. And that was using the word poo. So if you listen to that, if you're constipated, struggling to poo, then Caruso's constipation needs to be rescued. And then I finish off by saying, talking about all the benefits. So if you're struggling to poo like a poo ball, like Caruso's, no one's ever used the word poo in mainstream advertising. #2 in this category. #2, only behind bloaters.
I'm keen to have further chats on some of this stuff.
Thanks, Danelle. Pleasure, mate.
It's been awesome. Thanks very much, Frank.
Anytime, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.